Well, hello, Rebecca Hardie.
Hello.
Welcome to Hardie Party of Five and a Half.
Welcome.
I'm glad you could be here today. Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite Netflix show right now?
Hands down, my favorite Netflix show is The Great British Bake Off. I pretty much check every day to see if there's a new episode. And I want a scratch and sniff TV.
We need like 5D where we can smell it and taste it.
I know.
Yeah.
Why haven't they created that yet?
I don't know. Maybe they're working on it somewhere. Okay, so that's our favorite show.
Mm-hmm.
And who's your favorite baker?
Well, obviously, Dawn Hollyoak, who happens to be on our podcast today.
Oh, really?
We're going to get to a great interview with her. But before then, she sent us a recipe for us to do, and she did the same one. So if you're listening on audio, you might want to flip over to YouTube because you're going to get some visuals here. You might need some context to go with.
Some things can't be unseen. I'll tell you that.
I mean, she was very kind when she looked at our bakes. But anyways, it was a fun time in the kitchen and we learned a lot. And she gave us some great tips on how to improve and do some things different in the future. So please enjoy watching us bake CHOUX buns. Are you ready to make the choux pastry?
I sure am.
Okay, first we're going to put in the butter and the milk. That's 240 grams of milk. And, well, actually it's doubled. So, I don't know. I did the math earlier. And then this is some sugar. It's not a lot of sugar. That's peculiar. Put that in with a pinch of salt. And then we're going to bring this to a boil. A watched pot never boils, so check back in a minute. Okay, now we've gotten that to a boil. The recipe says throw the flour in. We're throwing the flour in. Stir it. And this is a peculiar part of this recipe that says cook this until it pops. What does that mean? We're going to cook this until it pops.
Is that a British thing?
I hope that I'm going to know what it looks like when it pops. Stir in the flour over the heat. I'm going to hear some crackling. Cook it until it pops. What does that mean? What does that mean, Dawn? Cook that until it pops. Does it pop?
Is this like a technical challenge where we have to figure out the missing steps?
Smells good. What does that mean? I don't see anything popping.
Did that pop?
No, I think that was my spatula.
I think maybe when you're folding it and it pops, like, because it's building up pressure inside the...
Is that what you think?
Yeah. Did that sound very professional?
I don't know. Okay, this says remove from heat. I didn't hear a pop or see a pop, but I'm going to guess there was a pop in there somewhere. And now we're supposed to add these eggs in. A little at a time. You're supposed to beat them in. The problem is it's so hot, I'm afraid they're going to cook. What do you got me doing up here? A little at a time. Don't scramble! We have our choux pastry. It's ready to go into the piping bag. However, we don't have any piping bags.
We kind of used them all for our cupcake wars.
Right. So we're going with the Ziploc.
That's right.
Sorry, Don. Okay, hold this open, babe.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to pour this in here just like so. I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me do it this way. I'll put this in here. It looks so pretty. I don't know if it's right, but it looks good.
I'm going to do like Jake and smell it.
It
smells good.
Does it smell good?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're just going to cut a tip off. And babe, you're just going to pipe these in, she said, ping pong size balls right here on the sheet.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
I think so.
Let's just see. If that's...
I'm not the greatest piper in the world.
Do it. I believe in you.
So here.
That's all wrong. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for your feedback. How's that?
That's good. Is that a ping pong size? Ooh, do you want me to like do this?
Ooh, can we cut them off? Ooh, look at that. This is teamwork.
Boom.
I just want to tell you how hot this piping is right
Is
now.
it hot?
It's really hot. I should probably be using gloves.
This is working.
Yeah, it's burning my hands, but yeah.
I bet there's some gloves right there.
We are fighting through the pain for you, Dawn.
I bet Dawn doesn't use scissors on her
We're doing everything wrong right now.
Okay. They're kitchen scissors. I cut a lot of things with these, and I wash them on the regular.
Dawn, this is how we do it in Texas. Okay?
These are not shoe buns. These are boot buns.
Yeah.
Texas boot buns.
And through the magic of editing, I finish really quickly.
That's right. Dawn says to bake these for 20 minutes. Now she says to check them after 15, but do not
Can we?
open the door.
Do not open the door.
Do not open the door.
Can you crack it open just a little?
Nope.
Like, don't even open the door.
Don't open the door. So
Okay.
let's put them in. You can open the door now.
Well, after they start cooking. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna open this door.
No, you're not.
Should I open this door?
I'm going to call Dawn.
You're good.
Don't make me call Dawn.
Hey, I was just testing you.
I set the timer for 15. We'll check it, but it's supposed to go for 20.
Okay.
See you later.
Don't open this door.
Our shoe buns are finished. They're kind of tiny. Our tower will be small.
It's like Ant-Man.
But now it's time to make the filling. The filling is heavy whipping cream, vanilla bean paste, and powdered sugar. And I'm about to whip it up.
Whip it, baby.
Oh my gosh. So we've got our filling whipped. Perfect. And now we're gonna make the caramel. It's kind of like what sticks the shoe bun together. So you build it with it. It says on very low heat, you're supposed to put this sugar. She says, don't add water until it dissolves and turns golden. Do not stir. I don't know about this one, but we're gonna go for it.
Go back to my piping.
Once again, we have a trusty Ziploc. We did put a tip in it this time because we have to pipe into these tiny little shoe buns we made. Stick that in this little hole and give a little squirt.
Did it work? How do you know?
Let me see. There's nothing in there. Let me see.
There we go.
Is it coming out? Is it too small of a... Oh, is it good?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it? We have filled our tiny little buns. And we've started a foundation of our tower just to kind of see what we're looking at here. And we're still waiting on the sugar to melt, right?
Do you know how long it takes to make caramel?
I don't know. How long does it take?
Well, check back in 4 hours.
Okay. Rebecca, like all great chefs, we have to be adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what's happened.
The kitchen is covered in a layer of sugar. Caramel takes 64 years to make.
I thought it was 84 years.
And 100 batches. And we are moving on to melted chocolate chips. And that is how we will stick our shoe buns together.
Okay, that took seconds.
Seconds. 10 seconds later, we have melted chocolate.
That's right.
Now, we're supposed to carefully dip our shoe buns into the chocolate. Don't touch the chocolate, it's really hot. And you stick them like this.
Oh, to the bottom?
Well, yeah, and then, sure. Maybe you should have a little bit, yeah. Dip a little on the side.
Dip a little on the side.
And on the bottom.
Maybe we should go one at a time.
Get your own chocolate, I melted this.
This one's a little dinky. We have finished our shoe bun tower / mound.
Mini tower.
Yes, mini tower. We're gonna splash some chocolate on here.
It's not what you hoped it would be.
This was harder than I expected.
Yeah, we thought it was not going to be quite this hard.
We're drizzling as a decorative element.
But also
to cover up any minor dings or flaws.
Listen, we did have the opportunity to taste a couple.
They taste pretty good.
They taste okay.
I wish y'all could taste them. They taste better than they look.
I don't know that we would win Best Taste Award, but
it's not.
You know
it's
what
edible.
we would win? We would win Best Effort.
Best effort? Wow. That means a lot. Do you think Dawn's is going to be better than ours?
I'm 100% sure Dawn's is going to be better than ours. You don't need to even spin it. You just need to tap it like this. Look, let's practice on this plate.
Okay.
Tap, just tap, tap, tap. You're doing so good.
Look, that's magic. That's baking magic right there.
Okay, you're going from pretty to snowstorm to blizzard.
Okay.
You got it. Now just a few stars.
Okay.
Guys, what do you think? I've always wanted to make a shoe bun. This was not what I expected. But we will get to that.
It was totally fun though.
It was so fun.
Okay, good.
We will get to that.
I thought about it, and it probably would have been better if I'd videoed the process, because you can see a bit more in terms of what the textures should look like.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard when you're trying to do it just from sort of. That's why I sent those photos over.
Oh yeah.
Actually.
They were great.
It did help.
They
It
were
helped.
great.
It helped us know the consistency and stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to where I think that we went wrong and where we went right in a little bit. But first, let's talk about you. And we want to know some things about you. I mean, do you know how big this show is in the United States? Like, people sit in my chair.
Really, no, well, sort of. Because I do the Instagram. I had to literally create a brand new Instagram account. Because I obviously had an Instagram account, but it was kind of a personal one, and it had all my family stuff and holidays and stuff like that. And I thought, I really want this to be just focused on the baking.
Yeah.
With a few little bits. And so I started it from scratch. But then when I started to look at the analytics, like half my followers are from the States, which is amazing, you know.
Yeah,
it really is. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
We love baking shows, and really, I mean, I don't know if people like on Netflix, I mean, it is just like show after show of like baking, cooking, following people around, eating food all over the country. That's a very popular thing. I don't know if that's as popular in England as it is here. Maybe it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, and so I think it's just the overall people, I think in the last, I mean, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just older and I recognize it more, have just gotten more into good food and appreciate good baking and appreciate, you know, and so I think with the internet, like where we can get our hands on a recipe and try something, like that didn't used to be the case. So I think maybe all of that plays into that. And
I think that conversely, I think it works the same way with American baking, because I love American baking. Really do. And we had some friends that came here to work from the States, and they lived here for a few years. And I'm sorry, you've got sound effects from the dog.
That's okay.
We've got one next to us too.
You might have some from ours too.
Yeah. So they came here, and it was like they brought America to the village. You know, they came and knocked on the door, and they were this all American family, and they were like, right, we've come here to live for 2 years, and these are our kids, and we became really friendly with them, and it was great because we were able to swap recipes, and I finally got to understand the cup thing because I had seen recipes that were a cup, and I'm like, well, a cup? What kind of cup? This cup?
Oh, hilarious!
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that.
No, but it wasn't until I actually got to know Barb. She explained to me. She said, basically, it's any cup, but she said you can use a measuring cup, and then I got myself some measuring cups, and I was off. You know,
that's so funny.
Yeah. So, and it was hard, but the only way you could really get those recipes was if you happened to know an American person,
right? Okay.
You know, you could get hold of one of these recipes, but with the internet and everything, it's out there, and you can watch endless videos and side surf. There's a girl who makes these incredible illusion cakes, and she's American. And I watched lots of her things. So and I watched The Pioneer Woman as well, because she is my absolute idol. That's my ultimate goal, is to meet.
That's funny. I've been wanting to go visit her place. She doesn't live too far from some family that we have, and I thought that would be so fun to go to her. She has a mercantile.
Go to the mercantile,
it's so cool. I think another reason people love the Great British Bake Off is, you know, that we're basically obsessed with your accents, right? Yeah. So, like, I mean, people put their phones on when we're going to navigate to somewhere, and it's on our phone, like with a map. We change the voice to a British accent because we want to hear that so much. Like,
well, mine's not great because I don't. I'm not terribly well spoken, and I don't.
You're adorable.
But I have more of a kind of, it's a bit London, my accent. So.
That's funny.
So we were rewatching some of the episodes yesterday, and I was just thinking, okay, why do I like this show so much? And I think it's just like relaxing, and it's fun. Everyone seems to be having fun on the show. Like, there's a happy spirit in the whole show. So I think that's something too.
There really is, and it is a very warm show. You know, when you're part of it, everyone, I mean, the whole crew, everyone that you come across. And they're all so happy to be a part of that show. There's you never come across anyone there who is not absolutely delighted to be involved with the show in whatever capacity, from the lady who makes your coffee and tea to the film, you know, to the cameraman, to the story producers, everyone. They're just so amazingly friendly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and that definitely comes across on camera. So I think it
really does.
It in the internet, where you can, in Netflix, you can find all these like dark shows. It's nice to have a light show, you know.
Yes. There's I think you're right though. There's nothing unpleasant about the show.
Right. Yeah.
The worst thing that happens is someone has to go home, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Other than that, it's just, and it is so positive. I mean, even when you leave the show, if you don't get to the final, it's still the most positive experience you can have in a tent, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so did you grow up baking, or did this come on later in life? What was it like when you were growing up?
It kind of went like that. So my grandmother was a home baker. And she actually was a cook in a school as well. Before my time. So she knew a lot about baking. And I used to go to her every Sunday, and she would teach me how to make pastry and how to make Yorkshire puddings and how to, you know, but she taught me the very, very basics of baking from when I was really young. And she used to grow everything herself as well. They had a fantastic garden. And it would always be like, we'd go down the garden, we'd see what was in season, and then I would learn to make something with those ingredients. So it was a really good grounding. And then as I became a teenager, I completely fell out of love with baking. I didn't have time. I was more interested in chasing around after boys and you know, going to discos and things like youth clubs and stuff, you know. So I kind of fell out of love with baking for a while, for a few years. And then when I sort of finished school, college, I went to live in London, and I lived with my aunt and uncle, and they loved baked goods, but my aunt was not the best baker in the world. So I kind of dusted off my baking, and started baking again then. And then eventually I got married, had children, and it just continued from there, really. And I suppose it's only, I was doing it, I suppose, more through necessity than anything when the children were young. But then they're all grown up now, they've all left home, and I had a bit more time on my hands, and it just became a complete obsession.
Yeah, that's so fun. I think that's so cool that you did that with your grandmother. I remember being in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mother when they taught me how to make the Thanksgiving meal that we have. All those recipes, I didn't know how to do a turkey. I didn't know what to do with the turkey. I didn't know all the things I needed to take out of a turkey or put in a turkey, and then all the other recipes that go with it. And I still have like vivid memories of standing in the kitchen with my grandmother and learning those things. So
I think they're always on your shoulder to some extent.
Yeah.
Kind of always referring back to those things that you learned when you were so young.
It's a special thing. So what was the process like getting on the show?
Long.
Was it?
Long. So I applied, golly, in about, at the end of the show 2021, I applied. As soon as the show ended, they advertised, apply now. And I put in my application. I didn't spend a huge amount of time on it, to be honest. Because I'd applied lots of times before, and I thought, I'm not going to get on, but I'll do another application. I did it, sent in some photos of things that I'd baked, and they phoned me back quite quickly, within a few weeks, I would say, within a couple of weeks. You do your first interview, which is a telephone interview. And if that kind of checks out, they don't tell you at the end of it, but if it checks out, then they contact you again shortly after. And you do, we did it online this year. We did it on Zoom.
Yeah.
And we had some specific challenges that we had to do.
Okay.
And some baking challenges we had to sort of show them over Zoom, so that the one bit they couldn't taste it, so it might have tasted terrible, but they didn't. And so we did that, and then it goes quiet. You get radio silence again for a while. You don't hear anything, and then after another couple of months, you get another phone call. Can you come and do some face-to-face auditions? So I had to go to London. I think they do it sort of all over the UK at various locations. But I went into London because that's my closest city. So you go in there and you do probably what's the equivalent of a technical bake, I guess, that you get on the technical challenge. You don't know what it's going to be. You have to take some specified bakes with you, which they taste, and then they talk to you about them. And
who is they?
Okay, so it's part of the kind of casting team. So it'll be some of the home economists or
nobody we've seen.
Casting people. Nobody you will have seen.
Nobody we've seen. Okay.
So you do that part, then you trot off and you get radio silence again. And then after another, I don't know how long it was, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, you get the phone call. And that's it.
And
but it's quite a long, from November, I can't remember when I actually found out I was on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it might have been kind of March time. So it's quite a long time. Yeah.
It seems like they have a lot of people on from a bunch of different surrounding countries too, right?
Like Scotland and
Well, yeah, so they have, I think they have auditions because it obviously covers the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
So they have people from Northern Ireland, from Scotland, from Wales, and from
England. Okay.
And we had a lot of, yeah, we had a couple of guys from Scotland this year, so
right.
that was nice. We didn't have any Welsh people this year.
So
and we had a lady from Northern Ireland as well.
Oh yeah. So they probably wouldn't take us with our address, but if we faked an accent and used your address, do you think we could have a shot? I mean, you've seen our cupcakes.
I don't know. They do not dig. They really dig deep when they check you out.
Okay, our cupcakes are pretty good. Our shoe bun may take us. Shoe bun. Sorry, our shoe bun may take us out of the running.
That's right. We'll get there.
So after all that, you go through all this process. What was it like walking into the tent for the first time?
Oh, it's surreal. It is real, yeah, because when you get there for the first time and you can see this tent in the middle of the field, you just sort of, it's that shot, the shot that they show from a distance. You just see them
with the little wildflowers,
and it's like, I'm actually here. This is actually real. It's a real place. And it's so beautiful. The setting is absolutely delightful. It really is. It's beautiful. So we want to visit there.
Yeah, we keep looking and we're like, we've got to go there.
So you can visit that. So the Welford House, Welford Park, actually, where the house is. They open the gardens, I think, to the public in about February time, because they have like an amazing snowdrop, woods full of snowdrops and fields of snowdrops, and they open to the public, I think. But I don't know if it's the house itself isn't open, because that's someone's home. It isn't.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not open to the public or anything.
Right. Is that where you stay? Like, tell us about, like, in between, like, where do you go? We see you come down the stairs.
Like you've been hanging out in the house.
You just said somebody made you coffee and tea. So where's the magical place you end up? And do you get to interact while in between? Are you guys like separated?
Okay, so what happens? We're put up in hotels. In the sort of locality. But we're all in the same hotel, the bakers, not the judges or the rest of the crew. So we stay in a hotel, and they keep us very separate from the public, because obviously all we want to do is talk about our bakes, and it would give the game away. And at that point, we haven't been announced as the bakers. So they tend to kind of keep us quite separate from the public. They'll have rooms and things set aside where we can go and hang out.
Okay.
Other people can't hear us talking and stuff. So we do that, and then you're bussed to the venue, to the location in the mornings. Early. I can't remember now. About 6 o'clock, I think, in the morning.
Oh gosh.
Really early at the beginning, because there are so many of us, it takes a long time to do everything. So you're bussed there, and then there's sort of there are lots of buildings. It's a big place, so they have like an area set aside as our kind of green room where we can go and hang out, we can go and have our lunch and stuff like that. But we're all together, I mean, we spend all our time, the bakers spend all their time together throughout the whole process.
That's so cool.
You say you talk about your bakes. Do y'all share notes and help each other, or is it more competitive and nobody really gives in to what they're going to do?
It is competitive, but it's competitive in a very friendly way. So if one of the bakers says, "Oh, I don't know how to make blah blah blah," then I think most of us were quite kind of forthcoming with like some pointers and try this, try that sort of thing. So we all helped each other, really.
So we see the edit, and you just kind of see the judges hovering around y'all, and Paul Hollywood gives you the look and like acting like you're not doing anything right. Do they actually help you during the bake? Do they come in and go, "Oh, what are you doing there?" Or do they just stay totally away?
They definitely don't help you.
Yeah.
And I mean, the interaction with the judges is minimal, I suppose, for obvious reasons, because otherwise if they become best friends with you, it might get a bit difficult.
Yeah, true.
But no, they don't interact a great deal, and they definitely don't sort of say, don't do that or whatever. But they they kind of swoop in and do like a royal tour of the tent or mid-bake.
So what they're showing us is pretty relatively accurate. Yeah. They just kind of come around.
They literally just come in and go around, and
So what are Prue and Paul really like, or do you even get a feel for that? Because you're really not around them that much, are you?
I think you gradually, as you sort of the weeks progress, you kind of get a little bit, you get to know them a little bit. They're both actually genuinely helpful, sort of, you know, if you speak to them afterwards when you finished your bake and you know they've done their critique or whatever, and you say, oh, I think this might have been better, or that might have been better. They will say, you know, they'll say, yeah, maybe if you'd done this, it would have been, you know, that would have worked better, or you know. Yes, they do actually kind of interact with you a little bit afterwards, and they're both really friendly. I mean, Paul, I know he comes across as everyone says he's really scary, but he's not really.
He's not.
He's very, I mean, I have never met anyone who knows so much about bread.
Really?
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
When I think with any competition show, you have to have the good judge and the bad judge. You know what I mean? Like the one that's meaner and the one that's nicer, and
And you did get a Paul Hollyoak handshake.
Yeah, what was that like?
I did, and I got a long stare as well, which was, I mean, that was a little bit unnerving.
His eyes do seem quite piercing.
They are, but the only thing, I've said this a couple of times to other people that have asked me, we're a family of blue-eyed people, so mine are kind of a murky grey now. I've got older, but we've got quite piercing eyes in our family, so it didn't really wash with me.
You're like,
and
okay, speaking of piercing, you've got Matt and Noel are running around. They're the comedians and the host. So do you find them annoying sometimes when you're trying to work hard, or is it always like, oh, it's great to see you?
No, they're fine. They're fine, actually. I think they are quite perceptive about, oh, maybe now isn't a good time.
Right,
They can see that you're really under the cosh. They will back off. The camera crew, not so much.
Oh, really?
The minute they sense panic,
that's where they're headed.
They're like a swarm, you know.
That is good film right there, is what that is.
Absolutely. That's what TV is all about. So
that's funny. Do they tell you beforehand, like they are going to come, like not the crew, but the hosts, they're going to come around and talk to you, and you really, did they tell you that you have to give them some time, like some conversation?
They kind of, there's so much going on, to be honest. It does depend. Sometimes if there's something specific that they want to talk about, the producers might come over and say, oh, we need Noel to come and talk to you about blah blah blah, and you go, oh, okay, and then he'll come trotting over. But other times, no, you don't know, you're working away and you just kind of look up. Noel or Matt or both of them,
they're both there.
They just pop up, you know. But,
so you have 3 challenges: signature bake, technical bake, and the showstopper. Which one do you think was the hardest? Is the technical really the hardest?
I think the technical is the hardest, in as much as you just don't know what it is. You have they give you no steer on what that is going to be. And it totally, I mean, you can get an idea of what it might be, because obviously you know that it's biscuit week. So if you're like me and you've got an encyclopedic knowledge of every technical bake ever done on Bake Off since one, I'm going through going, this one, no, we've done that. you know, chocolate caramel biscuit. No, we've done that. Oh, we've done that. We've done that. We've done that. And you can sort of narrow it down and go, well, I think it might be this or this, or you don't know. You have no clue at all. No.
I feel like that's where you guys shine the most, because like especially in one of your episodes, you said, yeah, you can't add that too soon. I can't remember, but Bacard, I think you called it. Is that
I think it was the red velvet cake.
Yeah, it was. And you said you can't add that too soon or it goes away or something like that. And I was like, see, that's just something you have to know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have no idea.
Like it really shows how much you know.
I found that really, because I hadn't made a red velvet cake since the 1990s. Because it was one of those things that became really popular. I mean, obviously it's an American recipe, right?
Yeah.
So it became massively popular here in the 90s. Everyone was making red velvet cake. You know, if your kid, you said, what do you want for your birthday? I want a red velvet cake. Everyone was making red velvet. And I did it at the time. But at that time, you had to use red food coloring in it, and a huge amount of red food coloring.
Yeah.
And I was never keen on that. I was like, I don't like that amount of coloring going in. So I did it, and then I never did it again. So when I looked at it, I thought, wow, I have made this. And I was desperately racking my brains trying to remember how to do it.
Yeah. I don't love, personally, I don't love red velvet cake, but it does seem to be quite a thing that people still like. I mean,
I
still like it. But you guys also did the showstoppers. For you, was that like the most fun, and you got to practice that at home?
Yeah. I really enjoyed doing the showstoppers. They were great. I think as we got further into the series, we had less time. It was just because of the schedule, how it worked out. And so I found myself with less and less time to practice. The earlier episodes, I've had a lot more time to practice my showstoppers. And I think that showed actually quite a lot.
So do you not hear about what the showstopper is until you get there, or you weren't given a list?
We know in advance. So
you're still practicing.
As soon as they tell you've made it to the tent, you get given you get all the briefs. Up to the final. You don't get the one for the final, but you get all the briefs for the whole series. And you get a timetable, and you have to submit your recipes. You have to design them, test them, write them up, and you have to write them up in a very detailed way so that you can actually use them when you're there. So you have, and obviously you're having to run through it at home, trying to make sure you can do it in the time. So, and that's a lot of recipes. You know, there's I think there was 9. So 18 different recipes that you've got to do. And so you have a very tight timetable for submitting them back, and then doing your kind of final tweaks. So that was really intense, because if you're I work, so you're working as well, and you're trying to, I mean, my employers luckily were really good, and they just said, just take what you need. It's really intense though, that run up.
Oh yeah, most of those showstoppers I could only create with some duct tape and a hot glue gun,
and having done blanket for us.
Exactly.
So what was your favorite bake in the show, and what was your least favorite that ended up?
So it was actually funny. I had a couple that I was really happy with. I was really happy with the house cake that I did in episode 1. Because that was a lot of layers of cake. Really, I think there were 11 layers in that or something. It was a lot. And it worked really well. The other one was the tres leches cake, which was really funny, because when we got the brief, and I thought, I don't even know what this thing is. I have no idea what it is. I don't know what it's meant to be like. You're working completely blind, I was searching on the internet, and all I could find were tres leches, as they normally are, which is just really a tray bake, isn't it? It's just
a
single layer. And then I'm thinking, how on earth can you stack that? Because you're filling it with liquid and now you're asking to stack it. How is that going to work?
Yeah.
And that took some effort. But by the time I got to my final version, I was really happy with it and I really liked it. So I like the way it turned out. It did turn out well.
Yeah. Those are difficult. And I mean, here in Texas, you know, tres leches cakes, that they're in most of the restaurants as a dessert. Like they're
a little soggy for me.
I don't care for that either, but
it's like it's a bit like we have well, you will as well in Italian restaurants, tiramisu,
yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it is a real wet.
It's not a cake for stacking, for sure.
So do you keep in touch with the other bakers now that the show's over?
Very much so. Yeah. We're all in regular contact.
Yeah.
We all speak. I think most of us speak several times a week. I mean, some of us speak daily. It depends because everyone has gone back to their lives, you know.
Yeah.
So some of us speak, almost daily. Others you'll speak to a couple of times a week. I was speaking to Carol, Compost Carol with purple hair.
Well, yeah.
I was speaking to her last night for a good hour.
Oh, nice.
So it's really, really nice. Made some good friendships.
Yeah. Do you guys swap recipes, or do you not want to talk about bakes anymore?
We do because what will happen is one of the bakers will want to make a particular thing, and they'll put it on our sort of group chat and say, "Can someone help me with this?"
Okay.
Whoever has that particular expertise will kind of jump in.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Okay. So, when we talked a few weeks ago, you mentioned you got to tell us about the Halloween bake that you did for someone else. Remember, you told us about the hand. I think you had, was it a severed hand you had? The foot. It was a foot. That's right.
Foot. So the severed foot. So that was Janusz.
Yeah.
The Polish baker. Yeah. So he'd been asked by, I think it was a close friend, to do this severed foot. And one of the things I love doing it, sort of illusion cakes. I really enjoy that. So he messaged me and said, "Can you help me? Because this is fondant." And a lot of the other bakers didn't do a lot of fondant work, with sugar paste. And so I said, "Right, I'll do it." So we did it over Zoom, literally, like a couple of evenings. We did it. And I sent him the template for the actual foot, and we did it over Zoom. It did work. It was quite difficult because I'm not set up with a studio or anything, but we did manage it, and it did work, and it was quite successful and really gruesome. And I ended up with severed foot in my kitchen with nails driven through it. I mean, it was just worse than
Did people come over and go, what is in your refrigerator?
Yeah, well, I actually put it up in my son's bedroom at one point. I thought, I hope he doesn't come home. I hope he doesn't come home and sort of wake up in the middle of the night and see this thing sitting there staring at him. But
that's so funny.
Oh gosh.
I don't know, how big's the town you live in? Is it very big?
It used to be, it was a village. It was classified as a village, but the population has grown. Do you know, I don't know what the population is.
Are you?
It's small though. I mean, small. We have less than 6 shops.
Okay. So you're definitely known as Dawn that was on the British Bake Off, the Great British Bake Off. Like definitely known in your area. That's so cool.
And that was my other half's big worry, because he said everyone's going to know who you are and they're going to turn up on the doorstep, but they don't. They haven't yet. People are very, very good, actually.
If they show up on your doorstep, just set the severed foot out. That'll probably deter them.
I know. Well, unfortunately, I put it out at Halloween and we had rain. So it's cold. So I had to bin it at that point. But it was good on the Halloween display.
That's funny.
Okay, are we ready to unveil this thing we've made?
Do you have yours done too?
I have mine done, yeah.
Okay. Should we show ours first?
Yeah, let's just show what we did, and then we'll show what it's supposed to look like.
Okay, we need you to be more prude than Paul, okay?
Yeah, of course I will.
I'm just kidding.
So, I'll tell you what I think we did wrong or right.
Okay, there it is.
There's nothing wrong with that. Looks fine. That looks really good. Actually, yours is a lot nicer color-wise than mine.
What?
Looks
You're
good.
being so kind.
We didn't get a good cone
really
shape though.
Yeah, we didn't do a cone base.
It's very difficult without a cone because you can't really get the height.
This is a good angle. We'll hold it right here.
So I think it looks fabulous. I think it's really good.
I think that golf balls in England might be a little bigger than the ones here. I'm just kidding.
No, I think we made our
balls.
We made the buns too small
They're
to begin
really
with.
small. Yeah. They're really pretty small. They taste
mine aren't massive. Mine aren't massive.
Yeah, and so then we did try the caramel. Oh my gosh,
that was taking forever.
It was also like midnight last night, and so I was like,
it's difficult to work with, and I'll be honest, it's a bit dangerous because it's so hot.
It's so hot. Mm-hmm.
You burn. I've had it where I've used it and it's gone down the back of my fingernail.
Oh gosh.
Ouch, because you get a blister kind of almost under the nail. It is the worst thing. It's so hot.
Well, I'm glad we switched to chocolate then.
Yeah.
And then we just did a little powdered sugar dusting. We were really just trying to hide the flaws.
I think powdered sugar. Do you know what? I was contemplating powdered sugar as well because I think it would work. I didn't use it in the end, but I kind of like the way that looks. And I think I probably should have done.
Well, our original plan, we had the fondant stars and we had done some blue ones. We used food coloring and made some blue ones and some red ones because we thought we were going to, it represented both countries.
Just bring both countries together.
Yeah. And so we were going to have red, white, and blue stars. But when we switched from caramel to chocolate, I didn't think the red, white, and blue was going to go. It looked better on caramel. So we just did the white ones. It smells good.
Great. I think it's really great. And you fill it with whipped cream, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
The cream,
you can do like a pastry cream, I don't know what
it's is that more like a Bavarian cream? Is that what you're saying? Kind of like
I think it is.
Yeah.
You can use something like that in it as well, which is a bit stronger. It's a bit like more solid.
The first cream that I did, does that split? Is that what that does? Like if I did it too long, would it be like almost?
Because when we were piping, it got a little liquidy the first round.
So I remade it. It got a little separated.
We need to do like
so you've over whipped it. Yeah.
I over whipped it. So I actually remade, I wish you could taste it. I actually remade the piping and then we redid it. So
when you do whipped cream, if you over whip it and it separates, do you know what the best thing to do is?
What is that?
Just keep going because you're turning it into butter and it will turn into butter.
What? And make some butter. Don't throw it out.
If you whip cream and you over whip it, you can't bring it back once it goes. So just carry on and you will end up with butter.
Really?
Drain the liquid off and you've got lovely fresh butter. Yeah.
Wow. And with the powdered sugar in it would have been kind of a little bit of a sweet butter.
Yeah.
From what the recipe you gave us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to make butter now.
Okay, Dawn, you've got to No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What about
you could have added a little brandy or something to it with the butter for Christmas. And
there's actually have you heard of Magnolia? Oh
my word.
That looks amazing.
So it's not. Do you know what I did? Because I didn't have a cone. So what I did, I got a glass, a tumbler. One that was and I covered it with foil and put it in the middle and it just let you go up a little bit further so that you could
use a glass. Why didn't we think of a glass? So are those little shards of caramel?
That's caramel with almonds in.
Ooh, so I looks so delicious.
Threw some almonds in with it. And then I did spun sugar, so it was covered. But this is England.
That is so beautiful.
The humidity is ridiculous. It is damp. It will be damp here until I don't know, April probably.
That is so beautiful.
But just melted away. But these caramel shards have stayed.
Yeah.
So some of it,
nice.
some of it glued together with caramel, and some of it is glued together with chocolate.
Well,
I made like pastry cream for the filling, just because I knew I was going to probably leave it out on the counter for a while. So
yeah, it's good.
They're really nice. They're quite delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ours were a little smaller, and which in turn, what happened was they browned on the bottom, like the bottoms of them. I'm glad we dipped them in chocolate because they got a little overcooked on the bottom, but the top wasn't getting brown enough. So maybe if they were bigger, or I have a new oven and it seems to run a little hot.
Is it a fan oven or an electric oven?
Electric.
Is it an electric oven?
Mm-hmm.
It should be.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's a difficult one because you do need to get them brown, because if they're not brown, they just
won't hold the shape. Yeah. It
was super fun though.
It was a lot of fun.
We're gonna try again.
You did really well. And
we're still married.
You can make all sorts of things from that pastry as well. You can make eclairs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pipe like a chew, like a sausage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 4 or 5 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
Bake it, then you get these puffed up, and you can fill.
We have to try that.
Caramel, all kinds of things.
Yes, I've been inspired. Our first try. We hear about choux pastry all the time. Well. This is not something that we make here. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We were not loving it at midnight last night. We were like,
I bet you were.
And we'd been sitting there looking at this sugar, trying to get it to caramelize for, I don't know, 30 minutes. And we were like, let's just do chocolate. But anyways, we do want to definitely, I told Scott, I was like, I would love to try this again now, knowing like where we need to make up some things and do some things different. And I think it needs to be a little bigger for sure. And so we're going to send you pictures of one that we do that's going to be even more
definitely. I want to see. Yeah.
We've got the baking bug now.
Yeah, we do. And I think making eclairs sounds fun too.
I know. Okay,
but I have one more question about the butter. There's a place down the road from here. Have you heard of Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines? You know them. No. They have this huge thing down the road from here that is pretty popular. But anyways, they make flights of butter to sell. And they will make like a strawberry butter or even like a garlic butter. And they make a flight of it. So it's all done up and it's packaged, real cute and all that stuff. And so if I were going to put something in the butter that I'm like, as it starts to separate and I'm doing the whipping cream, when do you add in whatever fabulous flavor you want to add in?
So if you're making butter, you can just, you literally whip up the cream. Eventually the water will separate the it's like the buttermilk will separate away, and you'll end up with a puddle of liquid and the lump of butter sitting in there. Yeah. So you drain the liquid off so that it's now just fat. Really, fat. And then you would put that into your mixer, and you can add in whatever flavors. You could put, I don't know, truffle, you could put anything, vanilla, whatever. Yeah. And then you whip it up in there. Okay. And you can whip it up to make it softer, and you can actually then shape it in a mold or whatever. Yeah. And,
Okay. I want to try that too.
There you go. Well, Dawn, you've been such a great sport. You baked for us.
I mean, I feel like we've been talking. I feel like we're family now.
That's it.
You've let us bug you about our cupcakes, and you've helped us with our choux buns, and you're now just
it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Just keep in touch. I'll carry on following you on Instagram and seeing what you're all up to, because you've been traveling around a bit, haven't you, just lately?
Yep. Yeah, we went for a Christmas vacation to California for the first time. The first time we've been there for Christmas.
We usually go ski at Christmas, but this year everybody decided let's go to California instead. So we usually do an experience as a gift and not a lot of presents.
Yeah.
So go do something. So
what a great idea.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Dawn, thank you so much.
My
enjoy
pleasure.
the rest of your day and enjoy your shoe buns.
I will. You too.
We've got a bunch to eat here.
We're about to
I was
have.
going to say we have too, and it's supposed to be off the menu now after Christmas, but it's
right.
Here we go.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Okay, she was delightful.
She's just such an awesome person.
I would love to go to her village. Can we go to her village?
Yes, let's go. I have a surprise for you, Rebecca.
We're coming your way. Oh, really?
I've got tickets now.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that today. There's been too much Christmas fun to take a big trip right now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
No kidding. Well, I thought she was very kind about our bake. When you hold it up to the camera, it doesn't look like when you're looking at it in person. And I think when you do it, you see all your flaws, you know, and holding it up to the camera, it looked pretty.
But it kind of happened the way I thought, because when you looked at her giant tower of goodness, it was like, oh, okay, that's the way you do that. I
definitely want to try it again and make them bigger. I'm not sure if I ever want to make caramel.
Yeah, I'm out on the caramel.
But also because it just is a sugary mess all over your kitchen. Like we're stepping in it for days. You can never get all that up. So I'm not sure about that. I did like her the little shards of, but that was actually melted. That's where you don't want to go. That's where I don't want to go.
I don't think that's going to happen.
With fondant. Our hands are tinted color from fondant, but it was fun time.
But it was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think we want to bake more now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole purpose of the show, is people that enjoy baking or haven't ever done it, like, you start loving to do it.
You start loving to do it.
And we're still married after this whole process.
That's right. It was rough around 1 a.m., but hey, we made it through.
That's right.
We hope you enjoyed this episode because, oh my gosh, we loved it so much. And if you haven't already, go back and watch this season so you can see Dawn in action in the tent. So Hardie Party 5 and a half, over and out.
We'll see you next time.
Bake.